everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of Will in a Wonderful World. So... what? Oh, there we go. It's like, why is everything all wired? Okay. So, if you can hear, like, a fan in the background, I'm sorry, but it's hot in here. So let's do this. Life is like a box of chocolate milk. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that's all about. It's her on her own. Yes, this one. As soon as I walked into school that morning, I knew something was wrong. Everyone I knew and didn't know was looking at me with a strange look, and they were all talking about something in a hushed voice. That was the girl. Wasn't the teacher new here? He was pretty old, wasn't he? Honestly, I wouldn't say no to a teacher as handsome as him. But living together? Oh no, that's too far. Living together? What on earth were they talking about? Jing was standing at the door of the classroom. She rushed towards me and dragged me into the restroom as soon as she saw me. She pulled out her phone and showed it to me. It was the top post on the school BBS forum. Senior student Li Wen from class 1 living together with hot new art teacher. Wait, can I click on this? Nope, alright. There were also a few photos of me and Mr. Wen, clearly taken from a distance in secret. All of them were from the evening of the exhibition. There were pictures of us at the entrance, in the cafe, even one with us going into our building. Dear God, what the hell were all of these? What did you do? Did you piss somebody off? Why would someone stalk you and take pictures of you and then make them public? What is going on? I carefully read the post again. It was posted by a newly registered account with no other information at all. The poster clearly wanted to remain anonymous. I had thought about this as hard as I could for a long time, yet I still had no clue. I honestly couldn't think of anyone who would be so mad at me as to do this. How would I ever explain this whole thing? I ran to the 3rd floor of the office building, hoping to explain myself to Miss Yang. Just as I was about to step into the hallway, 2 tall boys stopped me smirking. Miss Lee, we hear that you've been living together with the new art teacher. He isn't even that handsome, is he? What do you think about us, Miss Lee? Would you like to, give us a shot? I was thinking about how to get rid of these losers when I saw Mr. Wen come out from one of the offices and pass nearby. He had obviously noticed me, but he pretended that he hadn't. All of my strength had suddenly left my body. I was at a loss. I didn't want to stay in school for even one more moment. I ran back to the classroom, grabbed my backpack, and ran away from the school in plain sight of everyone. There was a 7-Eleven on my way home. My stomach started rumbling when I arrived at the store entrance. I walked in and bought a box of chocolate milk. I also ended up giving them a wrong bill. And then I left the store. I walked into a small alley that led to my building. Did you guys know that, I don't know if they're doing it everywhere or if it's just in Canada, and I don't even know if they're still technically doing it, but for a while there was a 7-Eleven surprise bags where you could get these little keychains of different 7-Eleven food items, so like their Slurpee, the taquitos, sandwiches, donuts, that kind of thing. And they're these like plushy toy keychains. They're really cute. I started collecting them, and I've got, I think, 4 by this point, but I don't know if they still have any more. And if they don't, I'm so sad that I didn't get them all. I felt a sudden spell of dizziness, and I blacked out. I fell to the ground. My wallet fell out. The milk box was opened and glugging down my throat. In a haze, I saw a dark and thick hand pick up my wallet and throw the empty milk box into a nearby trash can. He carried me on his shoulder and kept walking deeper into the alley. My eyes began to slowly close shut, and I felt as if I couldn't open them anymore. Oh no, I'm being taken away by a bad man. I'm screwed! When I opened my eyes again, I found myself locked inside a strange room without a window. My school uniform, shirt and underwear were scattered on the floor. Everything was dirty and ruined, including me. Pain was coming from all over my body, reminding me that this wasn't the first time that I had woken up. Oh God, this is disturbing. The door screeched and opened. A man wearing beach shorts and a tank top walked in. I recognized him. I finally realized that for some people in this world, there was nothing beneath them. Robbery, kidnapping, even... I tried to back away from him, but my legs were tied to the table and I couldn't move, not even 1 inch. I could only shut my eyes, hoping that I could wish myself into passing out again. I hoped someone had noticed me when I was taken. If only I had left some clues. Somebody help me. Liwen. Jesus, okay. This game is horrific. Okay, we're not gonna let you walk into that. I felt the spell of dizziness. Okay, no, I don't like that either. Okay, we'll do this. Try that. So milk, wallet, alley, dizzy. In a haze, I saw a pair of dark and thick hands pick me up from the ground. He then carried me on his shoulder. Oh no, I'm being taken away by the bad man. I'm screwed. I tried my best to focus all of my remaining strength and squeezed the milk box in my hand. The drops of milk left a trail on the ground. Soon, the box was emptied out, and there was nothing left. He took another turn into an even more obscure, tiny path beneath the, deep inside the alley. My eyes began to slowly shut, and I felt as if I couldn't open them anymore. Maybe it was my final wish, but I thought I saw somebody running towards us. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself lying in my own bed, covered with a warm blanket. My bag and wallet were on a chair next to the bed. There was no one else in the room. Someone who had been passing by must have saved me. Although, how would a random hero know where I lived? My phone buzzed twice. Jing had texted me more than once. Are you okay? I just heard that the school BBS had been hacked. Everything was gone. Feel better, okay? Everything will be better soon. Jing, thank you. Aw, that means that, creepy tennis guy must have hacked everything. Hackers. A hero who saved me. And Mr. Wen. So many things had happened today. I pulled up the blanket to cover my face. I had been completely drained. I didn't want to think about anything anymore. We got it in one shot! Look at that! Well, I say we're gonna go ahead and do another one.
Lo siento.
The dancer.
만약
Oh, and
돌아갈 수만 있다면.
stalking mission. Alright, we'll do Alicia first. At the southeast corner of Hong Kong Island sat the largest, most secure prison in the city. Hong Kong Central Prison. I gave the guards at the entrance the name Warden Chris. They glanced at my stripper outfit, casually flipped through the stuff in my tiny handbag, and let me through. No one else was in the warden's office except Chris. There was a radio placed next to the sofa. It was playing some unknown Latin music. Warden Chris's special hobby was likely the only weakness in this concrete fortress. He liked Latin music. Moreover, on the last day of every month, he would invite a young female dancer into his office. None of these girls had ever been seen again. Some people had suggested that they might have gotten new identities to start new lives somewhere else. Others insisted that they were dead. In any case, that was the only information that I had managed to gather. The uncertainty made the mission tonight a little risky. Nevertheless, it was the only way for me to approach him. I ignored the warden's leering looks and started dancing to the music. I didn't know the song, but the familiar melody still made me feel nostalgic. For a brief while, I felt like I was back in Mexico. I can imagine myself strolling down the streets of the lovely Cotepec, bathing in the warm sunshine, waving hello to everyone, saying buenos dias. I extended my hand towards the warden and shot him a passionate and inviting look. He grabbed my hand. I felt a sudden pain in my stomach, and I had to run into the bathroom. For some reason, my stomach suddenly started hurting. It gave me a bad feeling about tonight. If I proceeded with the mission, it was probably not going to go smoothly. My instincts had never been wrong before. A few minutes later, I escaped through the bathroom window. Never force yourself when you are feeling uncertain. Ray had taught me that. However, Warden Chris had already seen my face, which meant that I couldn't attempt this mission anymore. But even if we sent someone else, it would be much riskier to follow the same strategy. I screwed up, Ray. Alicia. Okay. So a stomach ache. Next letter. Officer Ji Yeon was still in the hospital. Meanwhile, Officer Min Jun had not shown up to work for a few days either. Lieutenant Kang had mentioned that he had been absent for health reasons. So he and I were the only active members of Unit 4 at the moment. We were in room 403 of the Sunshine Apartments. But there was no sunshine at all. The room had no furniture except a fridge, a microwave, a simple gas stove, and some bowls and dishes that had not been used in a long time. The thick window shades had blocked all of the light out for months, too. The whole room smelled like mold. However, it was a perfect location for surveillance. I quickly set up the telescope and pointed it at the window in the middle of the third floor of the opposite building. I could see through the telescope that a full-figured woman was having breakfast. Her lover was a drug dealer in the Yusong team of the Musun gang, who oversaw the transportation of all their goods. He was also an important suspect in a murder case from a few days ago, and he hadn't been seen in the past few days. This was my first time partnering with Lieutenant Kang. I've not been in Unit 4 for long, but I had come to learn that it was nothing like the rumors that I had heard. Unit 4 didn't have a lot of people, but it had abundant talent. An amazing marksman, a master of transfiguration, not to mention the lieutenant himself, who was a hidden beast. Lieutenant Kang had told me the truth about what had happened to him during our fight after Officer Ji Yeon was stabilized. He told me that I had met his other personality, named Yang Jian, and he was a different person altogether. Yang Jian was very violent, and he didn't have access to Lieutenant Kang's memories. Therefore, for the safety of his colleagues, he would usually only go on solo missions. I couldn't believe it at first. I had suspected that Lieutenant Kang was just yanking my chain because he didn't trust me yet, and he didn't want me to know the true source of his strength. However, when I later went to visit Officer Jian, she had told me about her own experience when she first joined the unit, including the same story about the lieutenant. That was when I finally realized it was all true. Multiple personalities were not common, so the lieutenant had always kept it to himself, especially about where it came from. In any case, the small quirk did not stop me from feeling closer to him. Although he was a weird person with an even stranger temper, he cared about us deeply. Just the other day, he had gone screaming at Unit 3 because their men wouldn't shut the bathroom door properly, and it was making my seat smelly. It was so awesome. As for the rumor about how no one wanted to join Unit 4, that was a total lie. They must have all been sent away by the lieutenant. Because they had been too weak. Yeah, that must have been the case. This was my first surveillance mission since joining the force. The more I thought about getting to be with the lieutenant alone for the next few days, the more excited I felt. I wondered if he would be willing to spar with me. Actually, how about now? Hey, Lieutenant Kang, would you like to exercise a little? The doorbell buzzed with terrible timing. I opened the door, and a young woman was standing outside. She said that she was a freelance writer who lived next door. She saw that there was a new neighbor, and she wanted to come by and say hello. The writer then asked me what we did. She kept asking me a lot of other random questions. There were so many that I became completely lost. I liked beautiful women, but I couldn't handle them. Oh, she's a spy. Just as I was stuttering hopelessly, Lieutenant Kang came to the rescue. He explained to her that we were both brothers and that we had just moved into the city. He was a journalist, and I was his little brother, who was a chef. I couldn't help but give him a look when I heard that last bit. After spending some more time with him, I learned that Lieutenant Kang, while extremely strict with most of the time, also had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. The writer had not stopped ogling the lieutenant ever since she had first laid eyes on him. See, that was our lieutenant, attractive in every possible aspect. He quickly got rid of her, and then told me to keep a close eye on the room that we were watching before he left. He must have gone grocery shopping in preparation for the next few days. I used to hear Officer Min Jun tell stories about how they'd always had nothing but kimchi-flavored ramen. It wasn't particularly healthy, but as part of the mission I was perfectly fine with ramen. Besides, I loved kimchi. However, 20 minutes later, all I could see in front of my eyes was an entire grocery bag of ice cream. My heart was bleeding. How did I forget the lieutenant ate nothing but high-calorie junk food? Officer Min Jun must have bought that ramen himself. Ooh. I sat next to the lieutenant and resigned myself to my fate. I kept an eye on the mistress while munching on ice cream. I ate an ice cream cone while she was watching TV. I ate an ice cream cone while she was watering the flowers. I ate an ice cream cone while she was making lunch. I ate an ice cream cone while she was taking a nap. I ate an ice cream cone while she was ice creaming. When it was almost sunset, the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream for the night. When it was almost sunset, the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream for the night, and my ice cream began to rumble. Ah, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. Okay. I think he's having a problem. The doorbell buzzed at an inopportune time once again. I opened the door. It was the writer again. She was carrying a bag of groceries. You guys haven't eaten dinner, have you? Shall we eat together? I have some extra food. Besides, I would really love to witness the chef's skills. She walked past me and went straight into the house. She changed into a pair of slippers while standing at the doorway and kept peeking around the room. I could tell that dinner was not her real purpose. However, my stomach full of ice cream had me on the edge of a meltdown. Looking at the bag of fresh vegetables and meats, I couldn't help but salivate over it. Wait a second, the chef? Was she referring to me? Well, Lieutenant, shouldn't you be responsible for your lies? Just as I was thinking about him, Lieutenant Kang came up to the doorway too. He slammed one hand onto the wall with a bang. At the doorway, Lieutenant Kang stared at the writer with a lustful look. What a shame, we've just eaten. Sure, the ice cream. Although, I usually go to bed later than my brother here. Wait, what? Who between us always starts setting up his bed before 7 p.m.? Can I come over later? I'm not a bad cook myself. Who can cook a milkshake? Well, you could just take the stuff out of the fridge and set them aside for half an hour. To my surprise, the writer seemed really into the idea. In that case, I won't bother you now then. Well, goodbye, and leave the food. As for tonight, I don't sleep until late either. You're welcome to join me for a late night snack. You look so excited that I think you could go on for days without sleeping at all. At last, the writer finally left. I let out a sigh of relief and went back to the window. Oh, crap. The person at the bottom of the building was the drug dealer that we'd been waiting for. He was about to take off. We rushed downstairs, but there was no sight of him anymore. For the next few days, we never saw him show up at his mistress's place. Considering that he had left in a hurry, he probably would not be coming back anytime soon. Mission failed. Change on Min. Alright. Let's see. He grabbed my hand. I felt a sudden pain in my stomach. He slammed one hand into the wall with a bang. Try that. Must be the ice cream. Do we really need that as a sound effect? I sat on the toilet and let everything run its course. When I finally got out of the bathroom, both the writer and Lieutenant Kang were already gone. Not until later did I learn that while I was in the bathroom, the lieutenant had seen the drug dealer show up at the home of our surveillance target. He didn't want to interrupt me, so he had gone after the guy alone. In the end, the drug dealer eventually outran him after more than a dozen blocks. If I had gone with him, then he would have been able to catch the guy for sure. Damn it! It was all the ice cream's fault! Perhaps my passion had infected the warden too. He was beginning to get a different look in his eyes. There was something twisted and dangerous about that look. Feeling a little uneasy, I decided to make my move immediately so that I could complete the mission and protect myself before being exposed. But he had grabbed my left hand so tightly that I couldn't get out of his grasp. Should I forcibly pull my hand out and risk being exposed? Or should I wait patiently for the next opportunity? Then he kissed me. It was already too late by the time that I noticed a strange taste in my mouth. The first thing that I saw when I opened my eyes was the sky. And then the ocean and the beach. I was lying on an empty beach, naked, with bruises all over my body. If I were a regular girl who had not been through 4 years of assassin training, I would have died by now. So that was where the other girls had gone. They had been abused and then dumped in the ocean. However, Warden Chris had already seen my face, which meant that I couldn't attempt this mission anymore. But even if we sent someone else, it would be much riskier to follow the same strategy. I screwed up, Ray. Okay. Let's retry. Let's try that. Maybe I can block out the stomach part. Perhaps my passion had infected the warden too. He was beginning to get a different look in his eyes. There was something twisted and dangerous about that look. Feeling a little uneasy, I decided to make my move immediately so that I could complete the mission and protect myself before being exposed. Warden Chris suddenly began struggling to breathe. He fell to the ground while grabbing at his own neck with his hand. His face turned into a dangerous purple color. He would never see the tiny scratch on the back of his neck that was killing him. I calmed myself, took off the poisonous fake fingernails and the excessive dress, and jumped out of the bathroom window. Okay. So we're gonna have him need to poop, but the lieutenant's gonna pull him along. I think that's what's gonna end up happening. Go! I had barely pulled my pants up when Lieutenant Kang grabbed my arm and led me from the bathroom and kept running outside. We ran into the drug dealer, who was just leaving from the building on the opposite side of the street. He took a glance at Lieutenant Kang and immediately started running as soon as he recognized him. The guy was pretty fast. We ran after him for a few blocks before we finally trapped him in a small alley from both ends. The next day, in the interrogation room, he was very tight-lipped, refusing to answer any of our questions. After half an hour without any progress, Lieutenant Kang stood up and turned off the video camera. He went back to his seat and leaned closer to the table. He whispered to the guy, "How about we make a deal?" A deal? What kind of a trick was the Lieutenant Kang trying to play now? The guy was apparently as curious as me, and he leaned forward, waiting to hear what the lieutenant had to say. Lieutenant Kang pulled out a switchblade. He flicked it open and stabbed it into the back of the guy's left hand in one clean move. The guy screamed out loud, but he didn't move, worried about hurting his hand even more. I supposed even he was unwilling to risk his own life. He finally started talking while he shook in pain. If I answer your questions, are you going to recommend a lighter sentence?" Lieutenant Kang smiled and pulled the knife out. He put it away without even wiping the blood off. After he gave us his statement, the dealer took off his jacket and threw it aside while cursing nonstop. That was when I saw a giant green python tattoo on his left arm. The lieutenant suddenly went quiet. I called his name more than a few times before he finally came back to himself. He stood up, patted me on the shoulder, and before he left the room said to me, "He's yours now. Make him pay." Huh. Alright. Bing bing. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.